Welcome back to another project with inkdropcustoms, and I want to let you know that this Bizarro body will totally be transformed into a completely different character. And as you saw in the intro, this is going to be Amazo. Now we're going to be touching base also on another issue, which is paint rub, and that's one of those topics that many times it's never touched upon in some of these other projects. Let's get started. First of all, you're going to choose a sculpt that you like. I chose the Punisher. This is one that I've already painted earlier, and I decided to use it to be the portrait for Amazo. And all I really did was added a little shower cap to him to be able to give him that red tone, a nice smooth metallic tone on the head. And the rest I pretty much left the same as you see here in the portrait. Now for video purposes, I've already painted the bottom part of the torso, and really that was just a light green over a primer, and then the stripes were done with masking tape. So I just wrapped the masking tape around where I needed it in the width that I needed it, and I did cut those strips of masking tape to the width that I needed since I don't have a pre-cut masking tape like this. So it's just going to depend on how wide you want those stripes. Now the cavities that you see there, the peg in the back where the cape was, and the emblem in the front, that left a large cavity where you're going to fill that large cavity either with paper or maybe some aluminum. You don't want to use a lot of the epoxy. For one, it'll weigh it down and it'll throw it off center. So fill it in, cover it over with the epoxy, wait for it to fully dry, and then you're going to prep it for paint. But you're going to do some wet sanding first. So in prepping for paint, wet sanding is going to be crucial, just like it is on sanding or wet sanding a vehicle. You want to eliminate those rough spots that you may have left, maybe some fingerprints or etc., some small particles that may have gotten in there. And besides, whatever grit you use, that grit that is produced by the sanding will then go back in and produce a very fine finish. Now, once again, all I did was sculpt that shower cap on his head, and again, I also wet sanded that as well. So for video purposes, I have already primered the surface and covered it with a base skin tone. I am now going to go in and add the different colors of washes that I need to match the skin tone on the portrait. This is the same process that I used, and it's the same process that I will have to use for the arms and the shoulders that are also exposed. So everything has to match. So I'll let you watch the rest of the clip and you'll see the different tones that are added in the sequence. And then again, depending on what tone you want to achieve, you are going to have to determine how much of the blue you want to add and how much of the orange you will want to add to create either a darker or more reddish tone or a more lighter tone of skin. It's all going to depend on your taste. I'll let you watch the rest of the clip, and just keep in mind that whenever I use the terry cloth towel, that's just actually microfiber towel, it produces a better texture than the paper or the sponge when I take away the excess paint wash. Let's have a look at the video. So we have reached the highlight of this video, which is eliminating that paint rub, or at least the majority of it. If you don't have a set of these grinders, I do recommend you pick up a set. They're only a few bucks at Harbor Freight, and it's going to make a big difference in helping you eliminate that paint rub in the elbow joints and the knee joints, and if needed in some of the other parts of the torso. Now, I'm going to show you on this lighter colored plastic because it's easier to see. And as you can tell, these Mcfarlane figures have ratchets on the actual joint itself and on the inside of the joint. Well, it's here you want to use the grinder to eliminate the first two notches inside this joint area. If you don't have a grinder or Dremel to do this, then you can use an X-Acto knife. Just be careful not to cut yourself and not to cut away too much of the plastic. You only want to grind away 2 or 3 of those notches. Now I say 2 or 3 because each figure is different. Some will require 3, some will require removing only 2, and that's generally enough to get rid of that paint rub. But you'll have to do it on opposite sides, the front of the peg, the joint, and the rear of it. And of course the same thing for the elbows. Now, once you've got that done, then you'll want to take the actual joint itself and grind away the flat surface, not the notches. Only the flat surface on the bottom and the top and on the rear, so that you can actually eliminate the majority of that paint rub. To get to the bottom here, you obviously have to heat up the joint and separate it with a screwdriver and then reheat it to put it back together. Now this was a short video, and I find that the shorter videos are easiest to remember and to learn from. So I do hope that you learned something in this video to help you with your next project. Obviously, results will vary. Everybody wants to have their own take and look on it, and that's fantastic. I'm going to leave you with a short clip of what the finished product is. And please, help me out with the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to get this channel growing and moving along. Enjoy the rest of the clip. We'll see you next time.